All right, let's get into it. We all live in one, but how well do we really get how it works? I'm talking about the human body, of course. And you can think about it like this. If you want to understand any complex machine, you're going to need two things, right? You need the blueprint that shows you all the parts, and you need the instruction manual that explains how they all work together. Well, today, we're taking a look at your body's blueprint and its instruction manual. So that really is the big question, isn't it? How does this incredibly complex machine we call the human body actually work? I mean, it is an absolute marvel of engineering, and figuring it out is one of the most fascinating journeys you can possibly take. And, the answer, as complicated as it seems, really just starts with two key ideas, two fundamental ways of looking at ourselves that honestly unlock everything else. So let's kick things off with the first one, anatomy. You can think of this as the body's blueprint. It's basically the master parts list for you. So what is it officially? Human anatomy is the study of the structure of the human body. It's about how all those different parts fit together to make a single functional unit. Really, it's the what and the where. What is this piece called, and where exactly does it go? But this is where it gets really cool. See, you can't just look at anatomy on one single level. It has to be viewed on two completely different scales. So on one hand, you've got what's called gross anatomy. That's everything you can see with your own eyes, organs, bones, muscles. But then you have to zoom way, way in for microscopic anatomy. This is the stuff that you need a microscope for, to see the cells and the tissues. So we're talking about the big picture and all the incredibly tiny details that make that big picture possible. And this is hardly a new field. People have been trying to map the human body for centuries. Just take Andreas Vesalius, who's often called the father of human anatomy. We're talking about the 1500s here. This guy completely revolutionized medicine with his super detailed illustrations, giving us one of the very first truly comprehensive blueprints of the human body. Okay, so now we've got the blueprint. We know the parts. But a list of parts doesn't tell you how the machine actually runs. For that, you got to have the instruction manual. And that brings us to our second key idea, physiology. This is all about how it all works. So physiology is the study of the mechanical, biochemical, and physical functions of our bodies and our organs. So if anatomy asks, what is this part? Physiology asks, okay, but what does it do? How does the heart pump blood? How do nerves fire off signals? That is physiology. And the pioneer in this field was a man named Claude Bernard. He's the reason we understand this fundamental truth about our bodies. They are constantly, and I mean constantly, working to keep everything in balance. Just think about it. You sweat to cool down, you shiver to warm up. That whole idea of keeping a stable internal environment, it's called homeostasis. That's his legacy. And it's an absolute cornerstone of modern medicine. And this is the most crucial point. You absolutely cannot have one without the other. This is where the blueprint and the instruction manual finally come together. It's where structure meets function. This really breaks it down perfectly. Anatomy is all about the physical structure, the parts. Physiology is about the action, the function. You just can't understand one without understanding the other. I mean, think about it. You can't really get why the air sacs in your lungs are structured as millions of tiny, thin-walled bubbles, that's the anatomy, without knowing that their function is to create a massive surface area to exchange gases, and that's the physiology. It's kind of like the ultimate relationship between hardware and software. So let's make this super concrete. Anatomy gives us the physical parts list, right? Here you see some of the major players: the brain, the heart, the lungs. These are the physical components you can literally point to. But again, what do they actually do? And that's where physiology comes in. It takes all those individual parts and explains the operating systems they run. The heart is the anatomical part, right? But the cardiovascular system, this whole network that pumps blood everywhere, that's the physiological function. It's not just a random list of organs, it's about how they all team up to get the job done. Okay, so this is all really fascinating stuff, but why does it actually matter to you and me? Let's take this out of the textbook and put it right into your real life. Well, the power of physiology in particular is just immense. It is the absolute foundation of all modern medicine, period. Understanding function is how we understand disease. It's how we figure out ways to treat those diseases. And on a daily basis, it explains how our bodies manage everything from a tough workout to psychological stress. And this quote here, it really just says it all. Human physiology lays the foundation upon which our knowledge of life is built. Just take a second to think about that. Every single decision about your health, from the medicine you take to the food you eat, is built on top of this very foundation. So, when you finally put anatomy and physiology together, what you get is this incredible, dynamic story of structure meeting function. And your body is telling that story every single second of every single day. The only question left is, what are you going to learn about yours next?